She's been through storms, she's walked through fire. Still moves with strength, not loud but higher. No spotlight needed, no grand applause. She stands for truth, she knows her cause. And she's not perfect, but she's real and sure. A woman of virtue who will endure.
Hey. Welcome to Ladies of Virtue Endure podcast. My name is Crystal and I will be your host today. With me, I have my beautiful sisters, L.O.V.E and TG, aka Tanya. Today, we are so excited to be with you guys today. We will be talking about honoring our temple and the rhythm of rest God's way. And I know that this is, I don't believe that this is a topic that we talk about enough. It's not a hot topic or anything like that, but I think it is so important that we are aware of what rest looks like God's way, because I think that we so often go. Our culture promotes us going. Productivity means that you're successful, and we don't often take time to just be in the moment and rest the way that God has called us to rest. Rest isn't a reward, it is actually a requirement for the called. And if you are a believer, you are called. So we are going to discuss that today. And I would like to read a scripture that relates to this so very well. I am going to read Matthew chapter 11, verses 28 through 30, and this is the Message translation. Are you tired, worn out, burned out on religion? Come to me, get away with me, and you'll recover your life. I'll show you how to take a real rest. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me, and you'll learn to live freely and lightly. That is plain and so real. I think that we so often, we're going and we don't take the time to understand that rest is it's not a reward. We are required to rest. A young lady, her name is Nona Jones. I'm pretty sure she's she's an author, but I just want to read something that she wrote about rest. It says, we live in a culture that treats rest like a luxury you only get after you've earned it. But in the kingdom, rest isn't something you squeeze in after the work is done. It's what equips you to do the work in the first place. Jesus didn't rest because he was weak. He rested because he was wise. He knew that ministry flows out of overflow, not burnout. Rest is not laziness, it's stewardship. When you neglect rest, you're not proving your strength. You're draining the very vessel God intends to pour through. When was the last time you really rested? So I'm going to start with that question, and then we'll kind of let me ask this question and couple it with another question. When was the last time you really rested? And then my next question is, what does rest God's way mean for you? Okay. So when was the last time you really rested? What does rest God's way mean for you?
Good questions. I'll start. The last time that I really rested was yesterday. I just took the day. I did do things, right? It wasn't a rest where I didn't do anything, but it was just there was nothing really planned. It was a day that was peaceful. It was a day spent with family. It was a day where, I mean, we cooked, we hung out, we watched TV, played with the baby, like all the things. It was just, there was no agenda for the day. It was just a restful, peaceful day. And we were actually talking about that yesterday, because we usually kind of do a recap, like how was your day, what was the highlight of your day, what was the low point of your day. And I didn't have a low point of the day. The whole day was just a really good, peaceful day, because there wasn't a lot of times on Saturday you're ripping and running, you got to get the things done, you got to go to the grocery store, you got to make sure you're all ready for Sunday or for Monday or whatever the case may be. And there were things that needed to be done, but we just didn't do anything. We just kind of hung out and spent time with each other. And then rest. What does rest God's way look like for me? To me,
Yes. Yes.
I think rest God's way looks like it can be it can be different things for me. Sometimes it looks like solitude. It looks like me in the prayer closet, just spending time with him, not asking him for anything, not seeking anything other than to be in his presence and at his feet. Sometimes it looks like family time and just spending time with family. I'm not working, not doing anything extra, but just being in the presence of the family that he gave me, right? My children, my husband, whatever that looks like. Sometimes, if people are over, just having a peaceful time. And then um, being still, right? The Bible tells us be still and know that I'm God. Sometimes I get so busy, not even in action, but in thought. My thoughts are always running, always thinking the next thing I got to do, the next event I need to plan, the next
That's good.
podcast, the next whatever. And so just saying, okay, Lord, I just want to spend this time with you, whether it's on a walk, whether it's in my prayer closet, whether it's with my family. So that's for me what rest God's way looks like.
Awesome.
Um, for me, rest. I really haven't just had a complete day of rest, an evening maybe, but not a whole day that I'm just resting, because I'm always kind of ripping and running and doing different things. I would like to um, have one of those days. I'm planning, if Lord's willing, to have one on my birthday coming up next month, where I'm just going out of town and just relaxing and doing some of the things that I would like to do. And that would be like my rest for me. What it looks like with God, praising Him, worshiping Him, prayer, but not just praying to speak, but praying to listen and hear His voice. Um, Sometimes we may, because one thing for me, I try to crowd everything of God in one day. And it's like I have information overload. And it's like you're praying and singing and you're worshiping and you're listening to sermons and you're reading and you're doing all of this. And if you do that constantly, you get like information overload, so to speak. And it's like, and then I just say, hey, I'm just going to like watch a movie to just kind of regroup, relax my mind, and just enjoy the moment with me and whatever I would like to visit. Because sometimes you can be so heavenly minded that you're no earthly good, and you're just like, I love the Lord, but we're also human. You know what I'm saying? And it's not that I'm putting God to the side or anything like that. I just need that moment for Lorraine. God's still there. He's still watching me. I done said my prayers. I done read my Bible. I done did everything. But I just want Lorraine time. So
Yep.
That's good. I like one thing that both of y'all said. I liked everything that you said, but just want to point out two things. Tanya, when you said that sometimes our mind is racing, our mind is going, and for me, I'm thinking all the things. What do I have to do next? What do I have to do this time? And it's like an overload, and I have to strive. The Bible says to strive for rest, actually. And for me in that moment, it's me intentionally taking the time to ask God to settle my mind and relax, because when my mind is going like that, sometimes it's a place of, for me personally, where I've experienced that I'm just really not trusting him to take care of the things that need to be taken care of, because my mind is racing on, how I'm going to get this done and how I'm going to get that done. And so, I think that rest is not just a physical thing, but it's also, resting your soul, resting your mind, just resting in Jesus. And then Lorraine, you said that, it's not just when you're not, it's okay to do something that you like and that you enjoy. It doesn't mean that, I'm not saved, or I don't love Jesus, or I haven't spent my time with him because I'm doing something that I enjoy. And I think that we talk about culture and how culture in our society, when you go, that is, the sign of productivity and success. But even in church and ministry, we tend to, my experience honestly has been that, if you're not doing and going and doing and going, then you're not doing the work of the Lord, and you're not, you must not be doing, and your relationship must not be where it should be if you're not doing something, and I'm not saying that we don't serve, right? I'm not saying that, but we go through seasons, and I feel like when you're connected with God and you are spending your time with him, there are spaces and seasons where you take a step back, and that's okay. And so that kind of leads into my next question, about guilt or shame surrounding rest. Do you have any guilt or shame surrounding your ideas of rest? Are there times where you have felt guilty or ashamed because you chose to perhaps say no to something, particularly in ministry, or in your regular day-to-day life? So I'll repeat that. Do you have any guilt or shame surrounding your ideas of rest as it relates to ministry work, as well as in your personal life, in your day-to-day life?
I'll start with that. For me, it's going to be a no, because I'm not going to do anything that takes me away from like my rhythm. Okay. So if I pray and ask God, hey, what is it that you want me to do for serving in the church? So he says, okay, clean the church. So I do that. I'm comfortable with that. I'm not trying to receive any glory. I'm in the background, do what I have to do. Go to Bible study. I do that. Go to a women's group every other Tuesday. I do that. I'm secure in where I am right now. If God says, hey, Lorraine, I want you to do something else, then I would say, if something else came to me to do, I would have to pray about it first and see if it works into my life. I mean, because I have to have that balance, or I'm going to go nuts. Even with mentoring, I have to look at my schedule and say, hey, okay, I can fit you in here because I know it's going to be a long session. So I'm going to take that time out mentally and make it work. So I have to have that personal work Christ balance. It won't be any other way, because I can't do it. I've never been the type, even not being saved, to put myself in situations that I'm just like running here, running there, doing this, doing that. I'm not going to do it. So unless God says do it, but right now, the way my rhythm is, it's okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo that. I don't have much guilt about my rest or what I do and don't do. There have been attempts to place guilt on me, like, oh, you should be doing this, or you should be doing that, or why aren't you doing this, or why aren't you doing that, and things of that nature. And I think that I I don't think that it always comes from a malicious place. I think that it comes from a busy place. And a lot of times in church, like you said, we're supposed to be busy and we're supposed to be doing. But if you can be doing and it still not be of God, right? You can
Right.
be busy and it still not be of God. So for me, I am okay with saying no. I am okay with setting a boundary. I am okay with where I am in my stage of rest and taking the time that I need when I need it. I will not be at everything. I will not help with everything. I will not participate in everything. And not because I don't want to or because I don't love the people, it's because that's not what God has called me to. And for me to
Mhm.
be effective where he has called me to, I have to understand that my time is precious and valuable. And if I'm doing everything for everyone else and I'm not resting and I'm not spending time with him to do, like Lorraine said, to hear clearly where he wants me to be. He does not, I don't believe that that's of God, that we should be involved in every single thing in the church. I shouldn't be a member of the praise team, a member of the cleaning, a member of the women, a member of the youth, a member of the ushers, a member of the prayer team, a member of the cooked chicken dinners on Sunday team, a member of the Let's Park Cars, a member of the, like, all of the things all the time. Now I can do those things, but within reason. So this month I might be, cooking chicken dinners. Next month I might be with the youth. Next month, whatever. But where is the time for that? Like,
Right.
if I'm doing that all every week, I have a family. I have a
Mhm.
husband that I desire to stay married to. Like, I mean, I have children that I desire to raise. Like, I have a business that I want to run. That I believe God has called me to all of those things. So if I'm always at the church and I'm not doing what God has called me, and I'm feeling guilty about it, then now I'm not effective. So now I don't feel guilty. No, ma'am.
That's good. So I am a recovering striver. My story is not the same. My story is not the same. Started long time ago. And I grew up in the church, so it was custom. It was a part of my, we at church all the time, and
Yeah.
so I think that I by default became a striver,
Yeah.
and and then if you're not, I'm not doing enough, I'm not connected, and I'm not, so I have been learning over the last few years in this new space that I'm in, as a single parent, honestly. That's what brought about this, awareness that I cannot do everything, and that I was attempting to. And so it's not a healthy place to be. I and even digging deeper into that and asking God to show me those spaces in my heart, I've realized, and he's revealed to me the spaces where I'm doing to earn his, it's sort of like doing to earn his love or his approval, or
Right.
I want God to be proud of me. And yes, I want God to be proud of me, but God being proud of me doesn't rest upon me doing all the things and being a part of every ministry.
Right.
And and so I've experienced and been in situations time and time again where people will push that narrative on you, and like you said, Tanya, not, I don't believe in a malicious way, but because they think that, or because it fits their preference and what they desire to see. And so, I have learned to be very mindful, and intentional about seeking God in exactly where he would have me to be. Um, you know, we on the couch and we transparent, right? So, uh, I served in youth ministry for a number of years. I worked with children. I love the kids. I love all of them. Um, and so I absolutely stayed in youth ministry longer than what God had called me to, because that's what I've always done, and it's like, well, if I'm not there, then what am I doing? And you know, what are people going to say? How are people going to feel? Am I going to, is it going to be that you know, is my relationship will my relationship with God be questioned, you know? All the things, you know. And so I have learned, and I am still learning, that I have to answer to God. You know, I have to be obedient to Him despite what others may think that I should be doing or we should be doing as believers in ministry. And you know, my story is that it is a struggle sometimes for me to say no.
Yeah.
Because I want to show up. I mean, you know, I want to, but I cannot show up to everything. And so I think that the spaces where I have perhaps guilt is probably with my children, when I can't, you know, be there or provide something for them that they desire. But also learning in those spaces that that's life and it's good for them. It builds character, you know, and it's healthy for me. You know, it's a healthy space to be, because we don't, like I said, rest is not just like, you know, in ministry or our soul or, you know, our spirit or resting in God, but we need physical rest. Like I'm learning over the last few years, like I need a good 7 hours if I'm gonna function at my highest. I'm serious. Like I need a good 7 hours, you know, and I can be all right on 6 hours, but I need that for me to mentally be able to give my best. And so I think that we kind of sometimes wear it as a badge of honor, being busy and doing all. Girl, I've been running all day. I've been running around like a chicken with my head cut off. You know, I gotta go here and do this, and I've been gone all day. You know, we kind of like sometimes wear it as a badge of honor, but God He didn't call us to that. He called us. It says to remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. It's a gift. You know, thank you for the gift of rest. And you know, it's sometimes we are so accustomed to being busy that we forget how important rest is. And so
yeah, that's good.
My last question is, how can rest actually empower us to serve, lead, and love better? How can rest actually empower us to serve, lead, and love better?
Can I say something to piggyback off of the last question before? When you're doing stuff out of obligation, it causes a lot of stress for you, because you're like, oh gosh, I said I was going to do this. I said I was going to do that, trying to keep your commitments out of obligation. And that's very stressful. So I just encourage people who are like trying to live for God, pray before you accept an opportunity. See if it is something God really wants you to do, because if you say yes, people are depending upon you and you're like, oh my gosh, this isn't really going to work out. But now you're doing it because you said you would. And you're not looking to do it for God, but you know, to people please, and because you said you would, and you're just stressed. And that's why I don't do anything that I don't feel that God would want me to do. So
that's good. That's a good addition. I love that.
Yeah. Don't pick it up, because if you truly don't feel God wants you, and then you could get stuck in it. And now you got a bigger problem. You know what I'm saying? Because now you're stuck in it and you're miserable. It isn't even worth it, you know. So I'm done with that.
Facts.
Yeah. Big facts. Big facts. I know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read my question again.
Yes, please. I'm sorry.
That's fine. That was good.
Yeah.
How can rest actually empower us to serve, lead, and love better?
Well, I'll go ahead. It clears your mind. for one thing. It keeps you your mind clear, it keeps you on track to know what you have to do. Um, opens your prayer line up a little bit because now you have more focus on, you know, what you need to pray about, what you need to do. Um, you can probably balance your calendar better. Um, and you'll be more effective in your serving. So you're not halfway there. You're fully there serving in your ministry or at work or anything like that. But this is like inclusive to your job and church, and you know, you guys have kids and stuff that you have to tend to. It's a lot, you know. And I admire y'all busyness and stuff like that, because y'all do a lot, and balancing it all out, you have to have some rest. You have to have some strength. Tanya, you have a little one, you know, and your teenager. Crystal, you have your two kids and, you know, older one. So you have to take time for yourself to show up and be productive in life and do what you do in your careers and stuff like that. So, and with myself, my job is very stressful. I think that's the majority of my stress is my job. But I just have to pray and ask God to balance it so I can be effective. I can be effective at work. I can be effective at, you know, cleaning up, you know, on Mondays after church, balancing my kid. I don't have I have kids, but not in serving them. But sometimes I do have to, you know, serve my kids and be there for them. And that can be a strain too, especially adult kids and their issues and things like that. So you got to be strong with them mentally as well. So it just pulls you from every direction. But I just think just, you know, praying and just taking that time for you and whatever you want to do, you know, and God, you know, in your, you know, in your heart, but not denying God in it. You just need to take that time. And that's what I try to do.
Yeah. That's good. I would agree. I think that rest helps you. Give me the exact wording of the question one more time. I want to answer it. I want to make sure I'm answering it properly.
How can rest actually empower us to serve, lead, and love better?
That's the empower was the word I was looking for. I think that when we rest, we have time to ground. Y'all know I'm big on self-care. I am big on my topic was actually for my last self-care Sunday was rest, reflect. No, yes, rest, reflect, and reset, which is something that I'm always saying. But I say that because when we rest, it gives us time to even reflect on what's going on. It helps us to ground, like Lorraine says, it helps us to regroup all of those things so that we can be effective to tackle the day. If I am not rested mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, right?
Absolutely.
We are a whole person. I can't just rest physically and not rest mentally. I can't just rest mentally and not rest spiritually. And spiritually don't mean that I'm not saved today. That's not what I'm saying. Like you said, the Bible says on the seventh day, he rested. He took time to say, what I did was good. Now I'm going to chill. I'm going to relax. I'm going to rest. And then we go. And we are supposed to follow that model as well. And I get that we might not be able to take one full day of rest because life is life, but we might not need that full day of rest, but we do need some time to rest. And we can't, when I have too much on my plate, I can't fully love you because I'm going to snap at you. Because I'm stressed, I'm frustrated, I'm overstimulated. And when I get like that, I know that I need to step back and rest. I need to step back and take a woo-saw moment, and I need to say, okay, God, what is going on with me? Like, what's going on with Tanya? Because I'm tripping today, right? I'm losing it, right? And the only way that I can, and this is philosophy of Tanya, the only way that I can manage my schedule is to rest. I don't allow my schedule to get so busy that I can't rest. I will say, hey, sis, can you? No. Can we? No. Not because I want to be mean, not because I desire to be nasty, because I don't. Right? I do want to hang out. I do want to, whatever. Even with us, if we say, "Hey, can we record at this time?" I can't. And it's not because I don't want to, because I love doing this. It's not because I want to be nasty and we got to do it on my time. No, but I know me mentally. And if it's outside of it, if it's during a rest period for me, we going to struggle. And I don't want to put that on anybody. So we have to be so protective of our
Absolutely.
rest time that's a priority, because that is God time.
Mhm.
I might not be sitting here praying and speaking in tongues and all the other things, but me resting is me honoring him. It's me
Mhm.
honoring the temple that he has given me. It's me being able to be equipped to do the things that he has called me to do. I hear him when I rest. I get clarity when I rest. It's
Absolutely.
like fasting. When I fast, I get a specific download from him that I don't get when I'm stuffing my face. And it's the same thing when I rest. Even when I'm not praying and asking for anything,
Yep.
I still have, I'm like, it's like the downloads are coming because I'm in a rested state. And when I'm resting, I'm connecting with him.
Right.
So resting for me empowers me to do things because it level sets me and it helps me to reset and reflect for me.
That's good. You just preached a whole little sermon. That's good. I love what you said about I was going to touch on that a little bit about how we are empowered to love better, because if I'm not rested and I'm not mentally there, then I'm going to get on your nerve and you're going to get on mine.
Hmm.
you know,
That part.
it's just not going to go good because I'm not there, and um even if we can be, I'm gonna be a little transparent. I'm hosting today, and I'm finna be transparent. I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say.
Say
Um,
what shit.
so you know, I there have been things over the last couple of days that have slipped my mind. And you know, I have me it slipping my mind. It impacts other people. So if I'm forgetting to pass along information, right, and people are depending on me for the information, and they waiting on me for the information, but I'm in la la land somewhere because I'm trying to remember all the things, and I'm overwhelmed, and I'm like mentally I'm not there, and so now that is impacting what other people are able to do or not do. And
Yeah.
like we don't I think that we go and we stay on go mode all the time. We don't take the time to think about how our actions impact. And when I say I'm just speaking generally, like, we don't take the time to think about how what we're doing and how we're responding and how we're showing up, how it impacts those who are connected to us.
Yeah.
And so, you said something about how God downloads in those restful moments, and it was something that I was going to read towards the end, but I'm gonna read it now. It says he can reveal himself to us as we rest in ways we will never know his heart as we work. So there are things, like you just said, there are things that God downloads and that are revealed to us in our resting times that won't be revealed while we're working.
Yeah.
And so it's extremely important that we take those times. And you know there I was in a space where I'm like, well, if I don't do it, who's gonna do it? And it goes back to trusting God with our time, trusting God with the our life, because if I can't do it, God can.
Yeah.
you know
Right.
and so it just it I think it's so very important in our day-to-day life. I think it is so very important in us being who God called us to be and doing it the way that He's called us to do it.
Yeah.
We have to rest. We have to rest. And so those are all the questions that I had. Do any of you have anything to that you want to add or?
Yeah, I just like to add also within the resting, there's also like community rest, like meaning that you need at some point to rest within your community, whether it's hanging out with somebody for a meal and having that fellowship, because that also helps in restoration, in your, having conversation and fellowship. That's another part of rest, community rest, being involved. And it doesn't have to be all day, every day, or, but at least being a part of your life so that you're able to have that communication with, your saints and fellow believers and things like that. And I think that's very important too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
What interests me about this whole concept is how God has connected how connected our spirituality is, and our mental space is to our physical. How our physical body tells us when something is not okay. And like I was reading about resting, or when we're lacking rest physically, and how, and like you just said earlier, Tanya, we can't rest mentally and not rest physically. We can't rest spiritually and not rest mentally. They are all intertwined and connected. And so when we are always moving about, always in a hurried state, always doing and going, and our mind is always going, we condition our nervous system to stay in high alert, where even when you try to get in a space to rest, your body is so accustomed to being in a hurried state, it's so accustomed to being busy and always doing and always going, that when you're trying to slow down, it's difficult to do that, because you've made a habit for your body to just go 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 go. And it makes me think about how often we encounter people who are they're just all over the place, and they're just always, at my job, I have to remember, I don't function well if I have to, in my job and what I do. I know that I have to be the grounded person. Like I can't match energy. Like I have to be the calm one out the bunch, with the work that I do. And so if I'm people coming into my space and they're all over the place, I have to maintain where I am, And so I have noticed that days that I'm lacking rest, it's easier to get me in the space with you. It's easier for me to match energy with you. And, I don't want to do that. I most of the time don't need to do that, And so it's interesting how important it is, and how much those things are intertwined and connected.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I'm going to leave with anybody who is struggling with resting, just a couple of or a few encouraging things to do. The first one is to daily spend time connecting with God, with His love and the reality of His presence. Starting your day with God helps to get you started off right, get you in a rhythm, a routine. Routines are good. Mm-hmm. Routines help build habits, and it's easier to continue doing those things. The next one is to regularly press the pause button. and trust that God is going to hold things together. We have to trust that he has it. He has it. And then lastly, the Sabbath is a gift that God gives us, not just a list of rules. When we acknowledge and honor the Sabbath, we are honoring God. And we are, for me, it is me showing my gratefulness towards him in giving the gift of Sabbath. And Sabbath means that I'm not a slave. I'm not a slave to sometimes my own expectations, culture's expectations, the expectations of man, that I am honoring God in my moment of rest. And so I just want to encourage anybody who may listen, that busyness is not productivity. Always going and doing does not mean that you are that is what the definition of success is. It's not what earns God's love, but resting and abiding in him is what gets us to where we need to be and do what he's called us to do.
Amen. Yeah.
All right. Does anybody else have anything else to add?
Well, I just do one more. That's it. I feel journaling is a great way to relax, because you're writing your thoughts, your opinions, your things on a daily basis, if you can. And I do that too. And that helps me just relax a little bit and, think about the past, the present, the future, not in a stressful way, but just in a way that allows me to write my feelings and everything on the page. And I find that to be very relaxing as well. So journaling is great. I love it. I have lots of journals laying around. If so something happened to me, someone read it like, Mom was thinking that. So yeah, journaling is good. So
I agree.
That's all I have.
Yep.
All right. Well,
That's it, guys. Yeah. Go ahead,
well,
Lori.
You guys, thank you very much for watching. This is the end of our show tonight. We'll be with you next week. Love you. Good night.
Good night.
She's been through storms, she's walked through fire, still moves with strength, not loud but higher, no spotlight needed, no grand applause, she stands for truth, she knows her cause, and she's not perfect, but she's real and sure, a woman of virtue who will endure.